Have you ever met someone whose consistency is just so relentless, it's almost a little scary? Like there's this level of discipline where people start looking at you with a mix of awe and, yeah, maybe a little bit of fear. Well, today, we're going to dive into exactly how you can get there.
Now, seriously, just think about that for a second. What if you could start a new habit, the gym, meditation, reading, whatever, and just never fail at it again? Imagine a world where everyone else is dropping off by week 3, but you just keep going.
Well, it turns out the secret comes from an ancient Zen system from Japan. It's called Goji, and it basically means the practice that fuels itself. The idea is that once you get this thing working, you might never break a goal again. Sound good? Okay, let's get into it.
So, to really get this, let's talk about a guy named Raphael. He's a programmer, super smart, successful, but he had a problem that, let's be honest, we all know way too well. He just could not stick to a new habit for more than a few weeks. Sound familiar?
I mean, does this cycle look familiar to you? Raphael would start every Monday, absolutely on fire, totally motivated. But then Wednesday rolls around, and that little voice starts negotiating, right? Maybe I'll just skip today. By Friday, it's over. Complete surrender. And look, he tried everything. Apps, accountability partners, you name it. But none of it worked because he was fundamentally fighting against how his own brain is wired.
So, what was the big secret he learned from these Zen monks? It turns out it has nothing to do with more willpower or finding some magical source of motivation. Nope. It's all about one single powerful idea, making an irreversible commitment.
So the word gyoji itself, it literally means continuous practice without any gaps. And I want you to really let that sink in. At one particular temple, Eiheiji, a bell has rung at 3:30 in the morning every single day since the year 1200. And every single day, the monks get up. The question, should I get up today? It doesn't even exist in their world.
Okay, so here's the absolute key to understanding this. Your brain makes a huge distinction between two types of promises. On one side, you've got your standard reversible commitment. That's just a private promise to yourself, and it always leads to that internal debate. Should I do it? But on the other side, you have an irreversible commitment. This is a public declaration, and that just ends the debate. Why? Because your deep, primitive brain sees public failure as a legitimate survival threat. Suddenly, the negotiation is over, period. And this is exactly what Raphael did. He stopped making these quiet little promises to himself and made a huge, loud declaration. He literally wrote down his 90-day goal, signed his name on it, and then he just blasted it everywhere. Social media, told all his friends, his coworkers, every single post, every single person he told became another log on the fire. And this right here, this flips the entire script. Suddenly, the thought of having to face all those people and admit he failed became way more painful than actually doing the work. Giving up was now the harder choice. It's brilliant. But making that commitment irreversible, that was just step one.
So even with all that social pressure, Raphael was still fighting a battle every single morning. The public promise stopped the mental debate, sure, but it didn't stop the physical resistance, that feeling of, I don't wanna. He realized he needed a system to take care of that part.
And he found the answer in two more simple Zen principles. These became the pillars of his whole system. And listen, these aren't just tips and tricks. They are specifically designed to systematically remove decision-making, which is the root of the problem. This is how you end that internal war for good.
Okay, pillar number 1, non-negotiable time. Think about how much mental energy we waste every day just deciding when we're going to do something. Raphael picked 5 a.m. It's not because he was a morning person. It's because at 5 a.m., the world is asleep. There are no excuses, no meetings, no texts, no fires to put out. The when was locked in. It became a constant his brain just couldn't argue with. And then, pillar number 2, identical practice. See, Raphael had fixed the when, but his tricky brain found a new loophole, negotiating the what. Okay, should I meditate today, or read, or maybe do some push-ups? Every tiny decision like that is a little crack where your old, inconsistent self can sneak back in. So he locked that down too. Same exercises, same orders, same time, every single day. No more loopholes. And this really gets at the whole point of the system. There's research that shows it takes, on average, about 66 days for a new behavior to become totally automatic. At that point, it's not about willpower anymore. You're not even deciding to do it. Your body just does it. The practice is literally taking care of itself. That's the end game. All right, so the system sounds pretty solid, right? But what happens when life does what it always does and gets messy? You know, you have to travel, you get sick, stuff just happens. This is where pretty much every other system falls apart. So let's see how Goji handles the real world.
I mean, we have all fallen for this lie, right? Well, if I can't do my full 1-hour workout, I might as well do nothing at all. That perfectionist mindset, it is a total trap. It's what creates gaps in your practice, and those gaps are the exact openings your old self is waiting for to crawl right back in. The core principle of Joji is so simple: continuity over perfection. I love this analogy. Think of your practice like a river. During a drought, that river might shrink down to just a tiny trickle, but it never, ever stops flowing. The second it stops, it's not a river anymore, it's just a puddle. Your goal is to keep the momentum going, always, no matter how small the action is.
So how do you pull this off in the real world? Simple. You pre-solve your problems. Raphael literally sat down and wrote out every single thing that had ever derailed him in the past. And for each one, he created a pre-planned response. When X happens, I will do Y. This is so smart because it removes decision-making right when you're most vulnerable. So if he was traveling, okay, push-ups in the airport bathroom. Feeling sick? Fine, 2 push-ups and 1 minute of meditation. The point is, the river kept flowing.
Okay, so after 90 days of this, of never breaking the chain, something really profound had happened. It wasn't really about what Raphael was doing anymore. It was about who he had become.
And people noticed. Big time. His friends and his coworkers started telling him that his discipline wasn't normal. They called it obsessive. Some even said it was scary. And honestly, that's when you know you're doing something right. Because normal people get normal results. You're not aiming for normal.
And this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. Because after you've gone through all this, you realize it's not actually about the daily action. It's not about just checking a box on some list. It's about becoming someone who can't imagine doing it any other way. The real goal is to forge a new identity. You stop being the person who tries to be consistent, and you just become the person who is consistent. It's just who you are now.
So you see, the Goji system isn't really a habit-building tool. It's a transformation process. It asks you to let the old version of you die, the one that negotiates, the one that makes excuses, the one that quits. It's all about the birth of a new, truly unbreakable self.
And look, people are going to call you obsessive. They'll probably tell you that you need more balance. What they're really saying is they need you to slow down so they can feel better about standing still. But when your level of discipline starts making other people uncomfortable, that's how you know you're finally operating at a whole new level. So the only real question left is, are you ready for that kind of transformation?